and then they should have given us Fantastic Four if that's what they're going to do, and they should have built out a worthy world for X-Men.
But they say, nah, we're going to twist it. We're going to do the multiverse one last time.
Yo, what's going down, y'all? It's your homie Jay Green. We got my man Barry in the building. We are Mission
What's up?
Reviews. Now, what we're doing right now, we're going to break down the Multiverse saga. Now, we're not really going to break it down, okay? I haven't seen every property in the Multiverse saga, but just like we did in our previous Marvel Infinity War saga breakdown, we kind of broke down the top trilogies that we thought were in that Infinity War saga. And all those movies are good in their own right. Some are phenomenal in their own right. What I'm going to do in my portion, if you will, is I'm going to kind of talk about, or we're going to talk about what we did think worked in the Multiverse saga, what we liked in the Multiverse saga, and then just briefly kind of touch on what maybe didn't work and why. So we're not going to be doing a complete deep dive, or else we'd be here for literally days on end, okay? These things are years in the making, right? But we'll give you just a little bit of this and a little bit of that in preparation for what's coming up at the end of the year, which is Doomsday, and we know we are all looking forward to that. And I'm also looking forward to Spider-Man Brand New Day, which I saw the trailer the other day, and my mother effing God, Spider-Man is going to be like, I'm actually looking forward to Spider-Man more than I am Doomsday, just off the top, but I digress. Okay, so, Barry, you want to kick it off, or you want me to start out?
No, kick it off, man. Do your thing. Yeah, let's see what.
Okay, so for me, I've been known to say to anybody that is willing to listen that I think after Endgame they should have just cut for like maybe a year or two, and then they should have given us Fantastic Four if that's what they're gonna do, and they should have built out a worthy world for X-Men. I'm sure they're gonna do fine at this point in time. Kevin Feige's back at the head of the ship. You feel me? But I feel like we should have been able to take a little bit of a break. We had an amazing 10, 12-year run, whatever it was, with everything that went on before it. The movie, if I'm not mistaken, that came out, which was Spider-Man No Way Home, I thought was phenomenal. It was great. It made sense to me. I love the multiverse type stuff that they had jumping off. It fit well into that Spider-Man universe. I loved his interaction with Doctor Strange. I thought that was phenomenal. I think that most people had felt that Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness was going to be super fire because it seemed like it was going to be coming off of the heels of that Spider-Man film. When in fact, in that movie, it was something kind of completely different. I feel that America Chavez, if I'm not mistaken, was the character's name. She almost took a seat to her own introduction in that movie. And then, like, we all like Sam Raimi, yes, but I feel like that movie was kind of goofy. They gave us some cool stuff in the Illuminati. Was that the name of the crew? When they had they gave some cool stuff with that, but it was also just kind of fan service because literally they killed them like immediately. Also, another thing that everybody loved, which I actually never watched just because of time and all that sort of stuff, was WandaVision, which I've heard it was like pretty much the best thing Disney Marvel did on TV after Endgame. So I'm not going to knock on that. However, I will say that from what I've heard and from the review shows that I've watched on that show, they pretty much kind of put a conclusion to everything that Wanda was going through. So for her to have the heel turn as she did in the beginning of Multiverse of Madness didn't make sense to me. I was also sitting in Hall H at Comic-Con when Kevin Feige unleashed all these shows that were going to be coming and said that we did not need to watch the shows to be able to follow along with the movies. And so right off the tip, what you do to me and turning me off is putting Wanda in a position where she's like straight ruthless villain, ready to kill anybody she needs to kill to get what she wants. When I'm like, well, if that wasn't really how she was at the end of WandaVision, how is she like that in this movie? That was kind of a bit of a quick heel turn.
I have to take that.
I didn't watch the show, so that kind of took me out. Other than that, Shang-Chi, I thought was like, it was okay, but you know, kind of got a little wonky towards the end. And then Moon Knight, I was hyped for that. That didn't necessarily really work for me. I'm trying to think what else did work for me. Not much else. But the reason why a lot of these shows didn't work for me is because, one, I didn't feel a true through line through the multiverse saga. Like, where were we going? Who are the Avengers? We still don't know. Now we have Thunderbolts, and they're talking about, hey, we're the new Avengers. So you're basically the Suicide Squad. Okay, cool.
Right.
That wasn't until just last year? The multiverse saga has been going on for years now at this point. And
Since
we still
2021.
don't know who the real Avengers are. But now we know we're getting Robert Downey Jr. back as a villain, and we're getting Steve Rogers back in a certain capacity we don't really know. You feel me? So one, I don't think that they've really built out the Avengers. We have no idea who they are. Two, most of the movies are not necessarily connected. They leave openings for sequels. The sequels have never come. Most of the shows are not very well received as the previous movies were, or even on the same level of a WandaVision. You did.
Yeah.
I know Miss Marvel was very well received, but didn't maybe have the viewing numbers, but it was pretty well received. A lot of people were amped for a lot of shows like She-Hulk and like Moon Knight and other stuff like Secret Invasion. When I saw the trailer for that, I was gassed up. Then that show was not too good.
Yeah.
So it's like they were all over the place. And that's for a number
trash.
of reasons, from in-house stuff. So I get it. I get it. You know, Bob Chapek had put a mandate, make as much as you can, as quick as you can. So clearly the product is going to be sacrificed a little bit. So I understand that. But what I'm saying is, what works in this saga after Endgame, No Way Home, WandaVision, from what I hear.
Yeah,
okay?
Definitely.
Fantastic Four, I heard was good. I haven't seen it.
Yes.
I own Thunderbolts. I think Thunderbolts is a great movie, right? I'll see anything with Florence Pugh. She's great.
Me too. Yeah, I know, right?
I'm pretty sure Black Widow came out after Endgame. It has nothing to do really with the multiverse saga.
It has nothing to do with anything, really. It's just a movie for her.
But it worked for me.
Right?
So I'm going to throw it in there. It technically took place way before. I get it.
They introduced Florence Pugh, so I'm like, yeah.
So I'm trying to think, what other movies were in there that I really enjoyed. Those were kind of the only properties that I could say either are good and well received from all, and that I enjoyed myself, right? So
it wasn't, to go back where you was talking about with WandaVision. Actually, you know what? Let's go back a little further in the beginning. Was, to me, first thing is Marvel got fat. Marvel got real fat after Endgame. Then when COVID hit, they were like, oh man, you know what? We can now just throw stuff out there and they're just going to eat it up because we need to make some money. And Endgame was phenomenal. People loved it. We made like $2 billion or whatever. And let's just throw stuff out there. And the problem with them is that they felt, and there was talk about this, and we kind of know, they got fat. They were like, well, we could put out anything we want. Number one. Number two, we're going to try out all these new characters and see what they think. And like you mentioned, when WandaVision came out, WandaVision really was a good stepping stone. And I'm not going to lie, because when I saw that, I was like, okay, they're probably doing something really good. Then they established the whole Disney Plus deal. And then they hired a whole lot of people for Disney Plus, right? So the whole lot of money was put on there saying that, listen, we can make this a stepping stone for all of our major theatrical releases. This will be it. And it did not work that way because they were throwing crap out there. Now, with WandaVision, to get into her real quick, I saw it. I thought it was a great show. And her bleeding into, with Doctor Strange. It's going to be a spoiler alert if you didn't see WandaVision, guys, but I just have to tell you this, and still go see it. But I'm just saying, toward the end of it, you'll see that she really was an evil witch. She was just sad and she was just hurt and she just didn't care. And what she did in that film at the very end, when you found out what was going on and what she was doing, you like, damn. So when she left the show, the way they made her leave the show, she wasn't left from the show like, oh, she's all cool and everything. No, she left the show like, yo, damn, okay, she's going somewhere. She understood what she did, but she still has it in her. So when they introduced her back into the multiverse, people who saw the show, that's why when I saw it, it was like, okay, yeah, I can see that. Because she's definitely hurt and she's not ever stopped being hurt. So when Vision, the whole Vision thing, that's what killed it. Without Vision was like a whole world, which is odd. Anyway, it is. So her being evil and all that stuff works out fine. I had no problem with that. But then you had other shows that did work that I wish they held or just kind of continued on in this multiverse, because most didn't to me. And I'm going to tell you this. Was it Moon Knight? To me, I really, really liked. I myself enjoyed it. I didn't know what to expect from it. I know they were kind of connecting that with Werewolf by Night, which I saw. Werewolf by Night, that little short story that they did was phenomenal. I really wish they kind of build on that, because Werewolf by Night is a comic book everyone knows, and that whole storyline is awesome. I just like the little movie they did, and it was actually directed by a composer, Michael Ciccione. I believe his name. I'm bad with names.
Michael Giacchino.
Giacchino. There you go. See, Justin's here to help me with these damn names. But yeah, that was good. Like I said before, I really enjoyed Moon Knight. I thought that the acting was phenomenal, and it was the first time, really, I've seen anyway, because I didn't really read a lot of comic books when I was growing up, where a comic book hero has different personalities. I thought that was kind of deep. You know, I mean, you got to figure Batman is deep. You know, he has trauma. He's going around like a bat. Well, this guy has personality issues. So that was odd. And I thought that was cool to see him trip out of all these different people. So, do what he has to do. So that worked out well. All in all, for me, like I said, like Justin mentioned, we can go into each and every character and try to drill down each and every character why we don't like and don't like. But all in all, I felt the biggest disappointment for me during that time was, and because they got fat on it, and they want to just kind of say, hey, you know what? Let's just change this up, make it more kid friendly with a lot of things. And one thing I hated was the Hulk, where they made the Hulk into this bubbly big creature, and we all like the Hulk because he smashes. It doesn't matter. And we understand that in a comic book, there is a moment where, of course, he becomes like Dr. Hulk or whatever it is. I didn't read all the comic books. I know it's there, though, but eventually they understood as well. And so we need to go back to what made the Hulk famous and what people loved about this character. Let's make him smash again. But now we're just going to, we're going to give him all the Hulks. We're going to give him the Red Hulk. We're going to give him the Gray Hulk. And then we got the Green Hulk. You got all that coming along in the comic books. And they tried to kind of put that in, with this Multiverse 2, recently, of course, with Captain America with the Red Hulk deal, right? They tried that. That didn't work out too well. So, even now, they're still trying to kind of figure it out. And as Justin mentioned, Kevin Feige comes back into play. He's like, okay, whoa. Okay, let's pull back. Obviously, it didn't work. We lost a lot of money. People hate us right now. Disney Plus, we got to fire a lot of people. A lot of things happen. And when people start getting fired and regime changes start happening, you start seeing that in the movies that we start seeing. And what happens with us as viewers, as consumers, we start getting mad and we start pulling back our funds. So now they said, okay, what we have to do? Well, Bob Iger comes into play and say, okay, everybody stop. My man comes back. Remember, he left and things happened with Disney and they lost money and everything because So he comes back and he's like, okay, everybody just stop. We are going to go back somehow, some way to what made us who we are today. All right. What we started with Marvel. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to find a way to bring back some legacy characters that people love and grew up with. Okay. Because we're like 12 years in the game or so, right? So now you have kids who were like probably 6. Now those mothers are around 20 years old. So now you have all of these guys coming together. Yo, I remember that. And you bring these guys back, right? And then he says, who were the directors that really blew it up for us? Oh, yeah, those brothers. Let's bring them back. How are we gonna bring them back? They don't want to come back. Oh, they're gonna come back. We're Disney. They're gonna come back. And they say, how much you want? We want this. Fine, deal. Just come back. How are we gonna make our legacy guys come back? Well, we gotta do this. Well, what about we bring Robert Downey? Remember that whole thing. But how the hell are you gonna make Robert Downey come back? People already attached to his character. They don't want to see him come back. It would just diminish what you just saw in Endgame. But it's like, nah, we're gonna twist it. We're going to do the multiverse one last time. You know what I mean? And that's what they're doing. They're doing the multiverse one last time. And we're going to go all in. And that's what they're doing now, guys. This is why you have the new movie coming out in December. You know what I mean? And everything is coming together. And they say, we are going to blow this up so we can introduce the new characters, the new X-Men and all that going along. But just like Justin was saying, though, the multiverse, and we all know some things worked, most didn't. And we obviously saw what they were doing, and other people start coming in and start eating off of us, and that's DC. DC ate off us a little bit during that time as well with their releases. But with Multiverse comes in, it just gave everyone like a chance, and I give them credit on a little bit of this. You did see characters you normally wouldn't have seen. Beetle, for example, Blue Beetle, I mean. And normally you wouldn't have seen that cat, but they gave us a shot, and I wish they really expand on that because that was a decent film. I don't know if you saw that, Justin. Blue Beetle. Yeah, I thought it was a decent movie because I didn't expect anything from it really, And when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's not bad. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. I enjoyed it. So they did not expand that much. Like I said before, Moon Knight, I thought the character was really cool. They could have used him in some other way, but obviously that didn't work enough for them to pull him back. So who knows what's going to happen with that. So anyway, yeah. So I agree, Justin. The multiverse is just one of those ideas that it's a good idea, but the way they execute it wasn't the best.
I will say this: the simplest way to put it is anybody that was like a legacy character within the multiverse. I don't feel that they actually developed this portion of the storyline.
Yeah, I agree.
Smooth and as fluid as they had in the Infinity Saga, right?
Yeah.
I feel like new characters that they tried to introduce, they almost gave a backseat to. They didn't flesh them out well enough. They didn't bring us into their world enough for us to respect them. In the beginning, the reason why it worked so well is because we knew Thor, we knew Black Widow, we knew Iron Man, we knew Hulk. They gave time and energy to that. I had friends that said the same thing. Hey man, why do they need to do all that? They already got billions. That's true, but if you just do what worked for you the first time, won't you get multi-billions? You probably would. You feel me?
Right.
The films in the Infinity Saga were averaging $1 billion. Not these films so much, right? So it's not that I don't like the characters. It's just I feel like they didn't really do enough with them. And then if indeed they're saying, hey, we want to make it a little bit more kid friendly, maybe a little bit less dramatic, I don't agree with that sentiment, right?
I agree.
Think you got to go where the story tells you to go. Okay, let's keep it real. Let's keep it a buck. What's going on with these characters? It's gonna get a little dark, right? It's still a PG-13 movie, right?
Right.
Service the characters in the right way and you'll be all right. And I just feel like they didn't do that with most of the movies. But with Spider-Man coming up, I can't wait for that. With Doomsday coming up, I can't wait for that. Woo! You know what I'm saying? They got some good actors. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe now. So hopefully they can actually do something with them. The guy who plays Shang-Chi, where's he been at? You know what I'm saying? Give him his next movie. You dig what I'm saying?
Let's talk about. They was talking about him, and they're talking about bringing him back. So we'll see.
I didn't care for the movie Shang-Chi that much, but I really enjoy the character. I really think what he can do, his abilities are dope, and I want to see more of him. Where in the heck has he been? You feel me?
Right.
Doctor Strange.
That's
I would have in the first Doctor Strange movie. You should have just given us who is that dude? Chiwetel Ejiofor is the guy that was like kind of his right
his
guy.
his right hand.
At the end, he kind of flips and he's like, "There's too many wizards and whatever he says," and then it's like nothing from him in a sequel. Give us that. I don't know. So there's certain things that they had left open and then they didn't do anything with it. So I'm rambling. But
that's all we could.
Bottom line is, I think once Avengers, Doomsday, and all that gets here, I think it's going to be dope. And I think with what they got with Fantastic Four and X-Men and whatever the new Avengers are going to be, I think we're off to the races in whatever the next saga is, whatever that next saga is.
I think it is. I think what they're going to do, we can see what they're doing, and I agree. Number one, the road they're taking right now is a good road. They're taking their time. They already mentioned that they are not releasing many movies anymore like they were. And, and with COVID and everything, I give them a little leeway just because it's like, because of the situation, what was going on. And, they just wanted to kind of keep some type of money coming in, some kind of streaming numbers coming up. They wanted to kind of keep the eyes on their product, on their IP as much as they possibly can. So they do everything at the wall. But doing so, like you said, they didn't develop enough and it just looked sloppy. It just looked like a lot of shit on the wall. And you're just trying to kind of move it around to see if you can find something clean. And it wasn't very good, So I think they won't make that mistake again, I'm quite sure. And I think they learned their lesson. Like, you guys got really conceited. You guys got real fat and high on the hog and all that, as they used to say. And you thought your shit don't stink. Yeah, you find out your shit stinks just like all of ours. So now you are understanding, hey, let's pull back. And that's why I think the way they're going now, with the direction they're going now with Doctor Doom, is a really positive direction. And I think, and as you can see, like you were saying, Justin, I think they're eventually going to lean off Multiverse. Multiverse still has to be there because they have to explain, Robert Downey Jr.'s character.
Yeah, they're going right? Cosmic, so there's got to be a level of it in there.
Right, and that's great doing the cosmic thing. That's badass. I remember those comics 2 years ago. So yeah, so I agree. What do you guys think out there? What do you think about the multiverse? Which ones did you like? Not the ones you didn't like. I know there's a lot of those. But which ones that you did say it worked, and I wish maybe they continued on with it. It wasn't that bad. So I'd like to hear what you guys think about the multiverse. And Justin and I can be here for hours. We can go on end about this. But we all know, just to simplify everything, that the new way is the better way. This middle version, what they were doing wasn't. You had a few good, most bad. But the beginning, of course, as we know, it's the classic that we love, and they're bringing it back. So, and like Justin said before, hey, if you're making billions on this, won't you just continue it and make some more billions? Like, wow. And I understand you don't want things to get dry. You want people to appreciate, you by missing you. You understand that whole concept. But not to the point where to the point that you don't even want to see the new stuff. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it is what it is. We're fans of Marvel. Don't get it twisted. It's not like we're fans of Marvel. Don't think we shitting on Marvel. We're just being truthful. It's real talk. We're just saying real talk. We're just two brothers talking about shit that we like and shit that we don't like. And that little shit we didn't like too much. But all in all, we still are Marvel fans. We love it. We love what they're doing now. We're just excited to see what's going to happen next.
Yeah. Also, I just got to throw this in there. I've heard a handful of people will say, like, when Deadpool and Wolverine came out, they're like, oh, man, this is like, because after Marvel has been, on a dip, on a downside, they'll be like, oh, this is the first thing that Marvel has done since Spider-Man No Way Home that was, like, super dope. And I'm thinking to myself, that's not Marvel. That's Ryan Reynolds. Let's be frank. That's Ryan Reynolds.
Right.
Went to go get Hugh Jackman. Kevin Feige's like, okay, yeah, you can do this because of where things are at right now. But let's not bury the lead here. That's not Marvel. That's a rated R film that Ryan Reynolds has built over the years after two successful rated R comic book films. The gross like way up there, right? So let's understand that Marvel did not do that. That was Ryan Reynolds. Give him where credit is due.
That's true. And on top of that, too, I would say credit to Hugh Jackman as well. Because remember, when Hugh Jackman came out with Wolverine, even the first one, he wanted that thing to just be raw. He could just go so far. You know what I mean? He always wanted Wolverine to be raw. He always said that. He said, I wanted Wolverine to be Wolverine like he's in the comic books. I want blood, guts, all that. Never really got it till the third one. And then was cool, but it wasn't blood and guts. It was a lot of slicing, dicing. You know what I mean? But it wasn't like just going full throttle. And just to add what Justin was saying, yes, Ryan Reynolds was running the ship because he had the clout now. But on top of that, I know that, Hugh Jackman was like, yo, Ryan, if we do this, I want to go all out. I want Wolverine to be Wolverine. And I just want to just be cutting and slicing. I want it to be just badass. And I think Ryan was like, hell yeah, man, let's go for it. If we got the cash, we got the clout, let's use it while we can. You know what I mean? Because we're going to have this forever. And they did. And I love that movie, too. Just to kind of say one particular scene I love was how they made Wolverine in that entire film. To me, I think it was something that's overlooked or maybe not discussed enough. But just give me 1 minute here. I just want to say this about Deadpool and Wolverine. One thing I loved about Wolverine was Wolverine was not all of a sudden on board with everything right away. He was still fighting with Deadpool. And even then, he was just beating Deadpool's ass. Even when you thought that he was all good, by the time they got to the car scene, when they were inside the car and they were bickering back and forth, even then you figured, okay, maybe he's understanding what's happening. And even then, he was still like, no. And it came in. What happened with it? He started fighting in the car, and that scene was phenomenal. Putting his claws through his head, through his nose, through his whatever. And it just slicing him up and everything. And I love that scene. And they were fighting for like hours and hours to the next morning or whatever. It was amazing. And I knew that scene to me, I felt it was a it was a Hugh Jackman thing. I really thought so. I really felt that Hugh was like, no, this is Wolverine. He's not going to be that easy to twist, and turn. And he's still going to be mad. And he went at it. And that scene to me was one of those moments to me that said, that's what we're talking about. Stop making everything so convenient. The guy's a killer. The guy's the Wolverine. And I think finally, Hugh Jackman got what he wanted from Wolverine. Although old man Wolverine was cool, but I think this Wolverine he always wanted to have. And I think he was like, can I just go crazy? Can I just go balls out, man? I ain't gonna be here forever. I think Brian was like, I don't give a fuck, bro. I don't give a fuck, dog. Do whatever you want, Let's put this shit in the script. And I was like, yeah, let's go for it. And the movie was a badass. I just had to put that in there. That Wolverine's whole character arc in that was perfect. I love how he just stayed at red. He literally stayed at red. Because you read any of his comic books, most of the time he's always at red. And it never gave us that red all the time. That did. So I just really want to kind of put my little 2 cents on that. So absolutely, Justin. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah. So everyone out there, what do you think? Again, we want to know. Know what I'm saying? This is our 2 cents, really our 10 cents of what's going on about with Marvel. With the multiverse deal. What is your take on multiverse? What did you like? What you didn't like? Did you agree on anything that we said or disagree? We'd love to hear your response. And also, too, either way, go ahead and let everyone know about this new channel, Mission Movie Review. Two brothers just talking real shit about real movies. You know what I mean? And just want real, just real talk from you guys too. So we thank you again, everyone who has made it. That's what I'm saying, yo. And everyone who has got this far in the video, thank you very much for hanging out with us and just listening to us rant on and about what we like and don't like and just being regular cats, regular fans, regular consumers. So love you guys. Everyone out there, be safe and look out for our next video on Mission Movie Reviews, Real Talk. Thank you again, guys. All right, peace.
Peace.